Well, howdy doody doolers, here we are again, Southern YGOs, Rice. Back again with the only deck that I can build. Only once Leon Dow Ranger has released another video update to the deck that I can copy it from. Ignore that, that's my notes for next format. It's legal to read those, I do not consent. Let's get into it now that locals started up again. I've actually had chance to play. So, really standard stuff. We have a 3 Alistair, good card. 3 purple, 2 blue, 1 Indiegogo. Good cards, like extenders. I actually did take these out for a little bit because I thought they weren't impactful enough. But turns out I was wrong yet again. So, standard stuff. I'm still running 3 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. These were in perms until very recently, because I have tested this for a little bit. I built this deck a lot to deal with things like Infernoble Knight and Dragon Link, because I kind of struggle against those decks. So, where he's just a body, it's a +1 that then fixes my hand. Good card, I guess. You can replace it for anything you want. It can be a hand trap, it can be imperm, it can be droplets, which I'm not running. I'll get to that when I get to the spells. But yeah, Phantasme is okay. Then 1 Coral Bane. Yes, we've gone over to the Trickstar engine because we've just discovered how good light extenders are. Thank you, Leon. 1 Dunno the Pancratops. It's one of the few things that's really good against the Zexal matchup, just because he beats over it, and then when they try and use the field spell again, it can pop it. Plus going second, he good. Then Kaijus. I'm running 4 of them. I might run more. This isn't necessarily for Dragon, although it's good when Dragon comes out. These help remove the Buster Lock, which is very relevant. And also, what I wanted, as much as anything else, and you'll see in the spells, it's very much the same. I wanted so many cards in my hand that my opponent would look at with Smoke Grenade and go, oh gosh, I probably need to rip that out of hand. That yeah, so I have enough to then deal with the board as well as everything else, because I found that was being annoying. So 2 of the big one, because turns out that's involved in the Go First VFT play, because turns out if you just open Alistair, then any light extender, that's VFT. That specifically because I needed 1 in the middle, and Wind Barrier statues about, I suppose, and then 1 Gmetal because he's very small. So that is almost all of the monsters. Now we're going to get into why this deck isn't dead, or at least in my view. So I'm going to get everything else out of the way. I'm going to show you 2 cards that you will have seen before. Rainbow Dragon and Elemental Hero Neos. So what this has done for the deck, this engine along with the fusion you will see later, it means that through Verta Anaconda you can have a card ripped out, and then you need 2 baits, and then you just need any way to get to 2 cards, which a lot of the time are the weaker cards in your hand, because they may not necessarily be a threat, and then you can kill them, and that comes up an insanely large amount. So I can, and of course you can just replace these with the appropriate materials for, what's that Red Eyes fusion-y thing? I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere, I'll find out later. But yes, so you can then replace those when the Mega Tin comes out. So I think that card's in there. But that is exactly 20 monsters. Isn't that handy dandy? Next up we have our spells. So we have our 4 copies of Meltdown. Oh, but we're running the Trickstar engine, so that's 5 copies of Meltdown. Thank you very much, people who are smarter than I am. Yeah, it's good. They're just good dot cards. Increased consistency plus light extender, because a light extender is apparently a good card. And then we have our 3 Evocation. I once again also did almost cut this because it's kind of a brick. To an extent, especially if you don't see Alistair. If you do see Alistair, then sometimes it can turn hands where Alistair needing to resolve doesn't matter anymore. But yes, so I can't really justify it to an extent, because it can be a dead card, and dead cards are bad, but I went through the maths before, and I trust that I did it right the first time, so 3 Invocation it is. Next up, big expensive new card, Triple Tactics Talent. It's quite worth the, especially in my deck, it's quite worth the price tag, just because you are aiming to bait through negates with this deck, and then this just rewards you for playing. Also, I'm not running Desires anymore, and it pained me because of this combo, just how good this is. Means I can't really run Desires anymore, even though that was a hell of a bait card, and also for Smoke Grenade. I think this kind of makes up for it. I mean, maybe you could talk about adding Desires back in, but I just found that it was Rainbow Neos was just too important. That was also part of the thing for not having 3 Invocation, is that I don't need to worry about Desires anymore, but we'll see how it goes. Triple Tactics Talent, amazing card in going second specifically. Going first, I'm not entirely sure about it, but if I get hand trapped, then I can draw 2 cards or whatever. You know how it goes. Next up, we have best card in deck by far. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It will always bait and negate. It can't be ripped out by Smoke Grenade, because if they do, they're an idiot, and you just banish this and search a Kaiju, and then you Kaiju them, so then you've dealt with the negate anyway. But then going first, if you use this with Alistair, it makes you the Mekka play. Sorry, not the VFD play. There we go. And Alistair adds itself back, and then this also add itself back, so you lose no cards in that interaction. And if you VFD them and you've given them a Kaiju, on your turn, when this is in the graveyard you can search, one of 2 situations will happen. Either they have a Kaiju and you don't, so you can then special summon a free 33 body, or they don't have a Kaiju and you can then Kaiju them. So that's why Slumber is best card in deck. Then we have our 2 Neos Fusion for the Rainbow Neos play. I wouldn't go down to 1 in case I see it. It's just that important. Sometimes it's okay to just hard drop anyway. And I wouldn't go up to 3 because sometimes you don't want to drop it from hand. It's iffy, but I found 2 works out really, really well for the play. Then we have our 1 Mind Control because it baits out interactions. And then worst case scenario, it's an extender. Then that's 48 cards. And I realised that, you know what, we need to bait out interactions. This is the best card in deck. Slumber being best card in deck. Why not run Pseudo Slumber? In testing, this has worked out really, really well. These can be other cards, but I've just found, especially with Buster Lock around and all the other things that I was worried about, that these just do what I want them to do to an extent, and then they clear a board, and then I make Rainbow Neos and Mekka, which is okay. So fun. Next up, we'll go on to the extra deck. So, turns out just by having a Blissey, even if you don't use it for anything, sometimes it wins you a match. 4 tokens. Yes, I'm double sleeving things again now. So, for the going first play with just say like Corobane and Alistair, you'll burn through 2 Mekka to get through to there. So, having other ones, good. Plus, if you ever have to grind, which I wouldn't advise with this deck, but if you have to, 3 Mekka is good. 1 Hergy Purgy, you don't need to go up to 2, it's good. OTK machine go brrr. We've had to drop Caliga, was briefly running Raging, so Caliga we don't have enough darks anymore without Destrudo because of Slumber. No, Destrudo is banned, that's why it's not in there. And then Vishuda because of Slumber, I found I didn't like how that worked. Also Corobane, I didn't want Conflictions. Then one of the new God card, Rainbow Neos, I don't know why I didn't see this sooner. It's really, it's very, very good. 1 Win the Game Dragon, he's still in here. You still make him a whole bunch. 1 Blackluster Soldier, you still make him a bunch. 2 actual just filler cards. I've run Underclock Taker in this deck recently. I've run Boral Load in this deck recently. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can run. These are just generically alright cards, if I'm honest. So you can replace them with whatever you want. I've just put them in for now. 1 Alistair, the Invoker of Madness. So most of your OTKs now go through this with a Light and a Alistair. But I guess you can make that. I think it still justifies its place in here, but most of the time you still will just go into Vert Anaconda, which is a godsend of a card. I don't need to explain what it does, so I'll just go on to the 2 next ones. Our 2 Link, 1 Secure Gardener and Salamangreat Old Mirage. It's what you do with Alistair. I would never normally include Secure Gardener. I didn't like it in the previous build, just because Mekka Pass I think might be bad. I think I read that somewhere. Anyway, but in this version with the Slumber, you need the Secure Gardener to make that first turn VFD. First turn VFD does involve Link Cross, and there's a VFD. So that's 15 card extra deck. Let me get that out of the way. And then side deck is hella like experimental right now. I really don't know what's good, but I'll start off with 3 of another expensive card. I think it should just be in there. I wouldn't main it just because people are putting stuff in defense, and I don't like that. So it's in here for the back row decks, along with 3 Twin Twisters. This was going to be like another hand trap for a while, but but I realised that I just, especially with Rogue around and everything, I wanted more back row destruction and things like Eldritch as well. So these aren't cosmic for Eldritch, just because I hope to God I don't have to grind against them. And then if I'm going against a back row tech, I want twins, I don't want cosmic. I may be proven wrong with having twins as opposed to cosmic, but I think as long as I can just destroy things, more things, then it should be good. Then Zex was going around, so this is needed, plus another hand trap. You know me and siding in hand traps for some reason. And then, speaking of which, the same that I have been using before. I was really tempted to use Gamma, but it does kind of conflict with Phantasme to an extent, and also conflicts with this. This kind of works against most things, but as everyone knows, it's semi-air. So this may change. I think Impermanence is safe. If not in the main, definitely needs to be in the side. But I will work through this to maybe find something better. Right, well, thank you very much for watching my latest and greatest, maybe not greatest, deck profile. I love you dearly. I hope you didn't all go mad during lockdown or whatever, now that locals are starting up again. Love you lots. Ta-ra.